Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the person staring back at you in the mirror right now is not the person you were meant to become? That every hesitation, every excuse, every moment of fear is feeding a weak version of yourself that is holding you hostage, and that 2026 is your one chance to kill it forever. Tonight, we're not talking about small changes. We're talking about confronting fear, smashing comfort, and unleashing a version of yourself so powerful, so unstoppable, that nothing and no one can stand in your way. Are you ready to face the truth and step into the person you were born to be? Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that the person staring back at you in the mirror is not the person you were meant to become. That reflection, the one that hesitates, doubts, and settles, represents a version of yourself that no longer serves you. In 2026, the challenge is simple yet profound. Kill that weak version of yourself. But before you can do that, you have to understand why it exists in the first place. The weak version of you is comfortable. It fears discomfort. It avoids responsibility. And it seeks validation from everyone but itself. It's the part of you that whispers you can't when the world says try, and it thrives because you've allowed it to survive, often out of habit or fear. But comfort is a lie. Comfort is a cage. If you want to grow, if you want to lead your life with purpose, you cannot allow comfort to dictate your choices any longer. Killing that version of yourself doesn't mean becoming someone you are not. It means confronting your own limitations with courage, acknowledging where you've failed, and refusing to make excuses for mediocrity. It means asking yourself every single day, am I living as the strongest version of me, or am I hiding behind fear? And then doing the work, the uncomfortable work, that the weak version fears. Growth is never convenient. It is messy, it is painful, and it challenges everything you thought you knew about yourself. But here's the truth, the weak version dies the moment you stop giving it power. The weak version dies the moment you choose action over hesitation, discipline over desire, and courage over comfort. This is not about perfection, it is about commitment. Every choice you make either strengthens the weak version or dismantles it. Every habit you embrace, every fear you face, every time you show up when it would be easier to walk away, you are chiseling away at the version of yourself that no longer belongs in your life. In 2026, refuse to be a spectator in your own story. Refuse to let fear dictate your potential. The weak version of you is not a destiny. It is a chapter. And it's time to close that chapter with conviction, clarity, and courage, so that the stronger, bolder, unstoppable version of yourself can finally take center stage. When you begin to dismantle the weak version of yourself, you start noticing patterns you never saw before. You see the excuses you tell yourself, the moments you shrink when you should stand tall, the opportunities you've let slip because fear whispered louder than your ambition. Recognition is the first step toward change. Awareness is the spark, but awareness alone is not enough. Action must follow. Action is uncomfortable because it exposes you. It forces you to confront inadequacies, to stumble, to fail, and to get back up. Every great transformation begins with this discomfort. The weak version of you will resist it. It will fight for survival. It will tell you to settle, to slow down, to stay safe. You must decide whether you will listen to that voice or whether you will act in spite of it. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward even when fear is loud, even when doubt is paralyzing. You must redefine what strength looks like. Strength is not arrogance. Strength is not perfection. Strength is consistency in the face of adversity. It is discipline when no one is watching. It is showing up for yourself, even when the world is indifferent. The weak version craves attention, craves comfort, craves easy victories. The stronger version thrives in solitude, embraces challenges, and seeks progress, not praise. Every habit, every decision, every word you speak either nourishes the weak version or strengthens the empowered one. The weak version is patient and lazy. It believes that tomorrow is enough. The empowered version acts now. It sacrifices temporary pleasure for lasting achievement. It understands that excellence is built in the moments nobody notices, in the grind, in the unseen struggle, in the relentless refusal to quit. Killing that weak version requires relentless honesty. You have to look at yourself and admit where you have been small, where you have avoided responsibility, where you have allowed fear to dictate your life. And you have to replace those moments with deliberate choices, choices that stretch you, challenge you, and push you closer to your potential. You cannot negotiate with weakness. You cannot rationalize its existence. You must confront it head on. The process is iterative. You will fall back. You will feel doubt. You will sometimes question whether it is worth it. But each time you rise again, each time you choose action over comfort, you solidify the death of the weak version and strengthen the person you are becoming. Momentum builds, confidence grows, and gradually, what once felt impossible becomes inevitable. This is the year to stop apologizing for your ambition. This is the year to stop shrinking to fit expectations that never served you. This is the year to stand uncompromisingly in the truth of who you are capable of becoming. The weak version is a shadow. It has no power unless you feed it, starve it, replace it with relentless effort, unwavering discipline, and a vision of yourself that demands more than excuses. Every day, every choice, every effort counts toward killing the weak version and embracing the version of you that will not be denied. Once the weak version begins to die, you start to notice something extraordinary. Your capacity for growth is far greater than you ever imagined. The limits you thought were fixed were only illusions, constructs created by fear and habit. Every time you step into discomfort, you stretch the boundaries of what you believe is possible. The stronger version of yourself doesn't wait for perfect conditions, it creates them. It acts decisively, seizes opportunities, and understands that the path to mastery is paved with consistent, deliberate effort. Killing the weak version is not a one-time event. It is a daily commitment. Each morning, you must confront the choices that will shape your day and ultimately your life. Will you linger in procrastination, allow self-doubt to dictate your actions and cling to comfort? Or will you push forward with focus, resilience, and unyielding determination? These moments define you. They are the forks in the road where the weak version either survives or dies. You must choose decisively, and you must choose consistently. Accountability becomes your ally. You cannot allow excuses, rationalizations, or blame to dilute your resolve. The weak version thrives in ambiguity, hiding behind justifications and half-hearted efforts. The empowered version thrives in clarity, owning every decision, every failure, and every success. When you hold yourself accountable, you reclaim control over your life. You stop waiting for validation from others because you understand that your authority over your own actions is the only one that matters. The process of killing the weak version also reveals the power of resilience. Life will test you. Opportunities will fail. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will seem insurmountable. And yet, every time you rise again, every time you choose persistence over surrender, you reinforce a truth that cannot be taken away. The weak version is powerless against determination, against courage, against relentless commitment to growth. Growth demands sacrifice. It demands saying no to distractions, to temporary pleasures, and to the temptation of settling for less. The stronger version of yourself understands the long game. It knows that success is not a single victory. It is a collection of deliberate, disciplined choices repeated over time. It values progress over recognition, learning over comfort, and courage over conformity. As the weak version fades, you gain clarity of purpose. You begin to act from a place of intention rather than reaction. Your decisions become sharper, your focus more unshakable, and your energy more aligned with what truly matters. You start to see the world not as a series of limitations, but as a landscape of possibilities waiting for the person you are becoming to step in and claim them. The weak version may have lingered for years, but it cannot survive your commitment to evolution. Every habit you build, every fear you confront, every boundary you push strengthens the stronger version of yourself. This is not about momentary victory, it is about transformation. It is about becoming a person who refuses to be confined by past failures, societal expectations, or internal doubt. It is about embracing a version of yourself that is bold, capable, and unstoppable. Your journey in 2026 begins the moment you decide. The weak version ends here, and the empowered version takes its place. This is your chance to redefine yourself, not through excuses, not through comfort, but through relentless action and unwavering courage. Every choice, every step, every effort moves you closer to the version of yourself that demands to be seen, heard, and felt. The weak version is a shadow of who you could be. The empowered version is the reality you are building, one choice at a time. As the empowered version of yourself takes center stage, you begin to notice a shift in how you interact with the world. You no longer seek permission or approval from others because you understand that true authority comes from within. The weak version thrived on validation. It sought to fit in, to avoid criticism, to stay small. The stronger version, however, thrives on purpose. It acts from conviction, guided by values and vision rather than fear and doubt. It knows that the opinions of others are just noise unless they align with your own standards of excellence. Every challenge you face becomes an opportunity to prove to yourself that the weak version has no claim over you. When obstacles arise, the weak version complains, rationalizes, and hesitates. The empowered version strategizes, adapts, and executes. It understands that growth is not linear, that setbacks are part of the process, and that resilience is built not in moments of comfort, but in moments of pressure. Each time you rise from failure, each time you persist despite doubt, you send a clear message. Weakness does not define you. Strength does. You also begin to redefine your relationship with fear. The weak version sees fear as a stop sign. The empowered version sees it as a compass pointing toward where growth lies. Fear signals that you are stepping outside of the familiar, outside of the comfortable patterns that once kept you stagnant. It is in these moments when your heart races, when uncertainty looms, that the weak version whispers for you to retreat. But the empowered version pushes forward. Growth always lies on the other side of discomfort, and courage is the bridge that carries you there. The empowered version also embraces accountability in every facet of life. It refuses to blame circumstances, people, or luck for setbacks. Instead, it evaluates choices, learns lessons, and makes adjustments. The weak version seeks excuses. The stronger version seeks solutions. And in this process, you cultivate discipline, a muscle that strengthens with every consistent effort, every refusal to settle, every commitment kept. Discipline becomes your shield against regression, ensuring that the weak version never regains its foothold. Relationships, too, transform. The weak version clings to toxic patterns, tolerates mediocrity in others, and avoids difficult conversations. The empowered version cultivates meaningful connections, surrounds itself with people who inspire growth, and sets boundaries that honor its energy and vision. You realize that your environment either nurtures the weak version or strengthens the empowered one. Choosing wisely becomes not optional but essential. Ultimately, killing the weak version is not about erasing the past, it is about rewriting the narrative. The weak version may have shaped your history, but it does not define your future. Every choice you make, every fear you confront, every act of discipline chisels away the old self and carves out the person you were meant to be. You will notice confidence rising, clarity sharpening, and resilience deepening. The weak version becomes a distant memory, a shadow of what once held you back. You are no longer defined by hesitation or compromise. You are defined by relentless pursuit, by courage in the face of discomfort, and by the refusal to accept anything less than your full potential. 2026 is your proving ground. It is the year where the empowered version claims its space, demands its results, and refuses to be limited. Every day becomes a declaration. The weak version is gone, and the person standing in its place is unstoppable, unwavering, and unapologetically committed to greatness.